Imagine a company, right, where their entire product is built in the cloud. It's, governed by complex algorithms and consumed exclusively on smartphones.
So basically a completely digital entity.
Exactly. Now, imagine that same hyper-digital company spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a physical, temporary wooden structure inside a massive convention center in London
Right.
just to occupy it for 48 hours. Have you ever walked into one of those sprawling trade shows that feels like an entirely different zip code and just wondered why some booths are absolutely mobbed with people?
Oh, yeah. Like people spilling out into the aisles?
Yeah, while others, sometimes right next door, look like total ghost towns. Today, we are answering that exact question in our deep dive.
It really is a profound contradiction when you look at it. I mean, you have software and tech companies spending identical, often exorbitant amounts of money for the exact same square footage.
Right.
Yet the outcomes couldn't be more wildly different. Because the companies that succeed, they aren't just relying on random foot traffic. They're running highly engineered, psychologically optimized playbooks.
And that is the mission of our deep dive today. We are going to reverse engineer the hidden psychology and, honestly, the meticulous, almost militant strategy behind high-stakes B2B deal-making.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. We are taking you behind the curtain to show you how the smartest companies actually win the room. And to do that, our blueprint today is a highly specialized document. It's the Exhibitor Guide to iGB LVE 2026 London.
Yeah, and this specific guide was produced by Adam Expo Stand, which is a top-ranked European contractor.
Oh, nice.
Just to give you some context on their authority here, they have over 15 years of experience. They've built more than 500 custom and modular stands across Europe.
Wow, 500.
Yeah, so they literally construct the physical stages where multi-million-dollar contracts are signed. They know what works.
So, to set the scene for you listening, iGB LVE 2026 is happening July 1st and 2nd, 2026 at Excel London. It is a massive European iGaming event.
Massive is almost an understatement.
Seriously, we are talking about 12,500 attendees packed into 100,000 square meters of flexible space.
Practically its own city.
It really is. And if you aren't familiar with the iGaming ecosystem, these attendees generally fall into a few camps. You have operators. Those are the actual online casinos and sports betting platforms.
Right.
And you have affiliates, which are the marketing networks that drive player traffic to those operators.
Yeah, and then throw in the tech providers, the folks who build the payment gateways and the analytics software.
The back-end stuff.
Exactly. And you have the entire supply chain of the sports betting, online casino, and digital gaming sectors under one single roof. The stakes are incredibly high, and the environment is intensely competitive.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can even talk about how to win at a trade show, we kind of have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Which is,
why are we even having a physical trade show at all? Everything in this specific sector, digital poker, cloud-based analytics, mobile betting, it all lives on the internet.
it does.
It feels a bit like trying to sell complex enterprise software by setting up a wooden lemonade stand on the sidewalk. I mean, why fly thousands of people to London when Zoom exists?
I get that. It
Yeah.
seems like a massive waste of resources at first glance. But, the data from the broader event industry explains the motive perfectly.
Okay, lay on me.
According to the Center for Exhibition Industry Research's 2024 data, 81% of trade show attendees have purchasing authority.
Wait, 81%?
8 out of 10 people walking past your space have the power to actually sign a check.
That is a staggering concentration of wealth. But still, I mean, I could just email those same decision makers. I could send them a really nice pitch deck.
What's fascinating here is the concept of time compression. Yes, these are digital businesses, but the partnerships governing them are built on intense trust and, honestly, highly specific, nuanced negotiations.
Right, it's not a generic product.
Exactly. For an affiliate marketer and a gaming operator, meeting in person compresses deal timelines that would normally take weeks or even months of back-and-forth emails.
Into just a single 48-hour window.
Precisely. They are instantly negotiating CPA, that's cost per acquisition rates. So an operator might be sitting there and say, look, we usually pay $50 for every new player you bring us, but if you can guarantee volume in the Spanish market, we will bump that to 75.
Ah, I see. So they aren't just scanning a QR code and saying hello. They are actively hashing out the math right there on the floor.
Oh, absolutely. They are setting VIP commission tiers and getting the green light on exclusive promotional arrangements right then and there. You simply cannot easily read a room or gauge a partner's flexibility on a commission tier over a cold email.
That makes a lot of sense. The face-to-face interaction creates this behavioral friction that just forces a decision.
Exactly. It forces action.
And if you're listening to this thinking, well, I don't work in online gaming, so why do I care? This dynamic applies universally.
Completely agree.
Whether you work in healthcare tech, finance, or retail logistics, getting concentrated, physical access to your entire industry ecosystem in one room is the ultimate efficiency hack.
It really is. You aren't buying floor space, you are buying time.
You're buying time. I love that. And because you only have those 48 hours, the physical space you occupy during that time becomes the single most critical asset you have.
Oh, for sure. In a hall of 300 exhibitors, you are fighting a massive ongoing battle for attention. The guide actually highlights that you really only have 3 seconds to make an impression on someone walking down the aisle.
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
That is wild. 3 seconds for a C-suite executive to decide if your booth is a ghost town or the place to be. So how does a contractor like Atom Expo's stand actually manipulate visitor flow to ensure a company passes that 3-second test?
Well, the first rule is abandoning a very common, very flawed marketing habit.
Catchy slogans.
Exactly, the catchy slogan. The guide is emphatic that you must ditch generic taglines. You really have to put yourself in the shoes of the person walking the floor.
Right.
These are highly technical, intensely time-pressured decision makers. They don't want marketing poetry. They want hard data.
So a massive banner that says, like, "We are the future of gaming," is essentially invisible to them.
It's worse than invisible, honestly. It signals a lack of substance. If your headline is, "The leading affiliate network," a purchasing director will just keep walking. They've seen it 100 times.
Right, because it doesn't actually mean anything.
Exactly. But if your graphic says 500 operator partners across 40 regulated markets, you have given their brain something concrete to evaluate instantly. Numbers communicate specialization and scale way faster than any adjective ever could.
Data over slogans. It makes perfect sense for a hyper-analytical crowd. But, it's not just what the stand says that matters, it's how it's physically constructed.
The role of the architecture is everything.
Yeah, the source material spends a lot of time on physical friction and visitor flow. For instance, my first instinct, if I were designing a booth, would be to put my shiny new product demo station right at the front edge of the stand.
Yeah.
Show them the goods immediately, right on the aisle.
And that is the most common architectural mistake exhibitors make.
Really?
Yeah. The data shows that placing a demo station at the entry point actually drops walk-in engagements by 20 to 30%.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because I was trying to visualize why that happens, and it's basically like designing a terrible casino floor.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think about it. Imagine a casino where they put a solid wall of loud, crowded slot machines right at the front door. The high-roller blackjack players walk in, they see a physical barrier of people and noise, and instead of squeezing past them to find a table, they just turn around and go to the casino next door.
That is a brilliant analogy.
Yeah.
It perfectly describes the mechanism of spatial friction.
Yeah.
Definitely. By blocking the entrance, you are creating a physical barrier before the visitor's psychological barrier has even been lowered. You want open, walk-through layouts.
So pull them in first.
Exactly. The primary product demo should be at the rear or the side. It needs to act as a gravitational pull that draws the visitor completely into your footprint.
Okay, so that handles the entryway. But before they even get to the entrance, you have to capture their attention from across a massive hall. I mean, Excel London is 100,000 square meters. How do you stand out when there are like 50 other booths in your direct line of sight?
The guide emphasizes the sheer power of height. If you design structures or above canopy signage that is visible from 20 to 30 meters away, your stand acts as a beacon.
Like a literal lighthouse in the middle of the convention center.
Exactly. And the data backs this up. It indicates those elevated stands generate twice the unsolicited walk-in traffic compared to equally sized floor-level setups.
Twice the traffic just by building up instead of out.
Yep. You are essentially directing foot traffic and intercepting attendees before they're even close enough to read your data-driven messaging.
Okay, so let's follow that visitor journey. You've used height to pull them across the room. You've used hard numbers to hook them in 3 seconds. You've kept the entry clear so they flow right into the space.
Right.
But now you have a new problem. You cannot just stand around in the middle of an open convention floor talking about multi-million-dollar M&A deals or like proprietary data sets.
No, you absolutely cannot. Which brings us to the necessity of private meeting pods.
Ah,
The guide specifically recommends integrating a 3 by 2 meter private pod, complete with a table, 4 seats, and acoustic dampening. And it needs to be partially separated from the open floor.
acoustic dampening, that's intense.
It's necessary. This physical transition from the public stand to the private pod is the mechanism that converts casual interest into structured, high-value contracts. It signals to the visitor that you take their privacy and their business seriously.
The psychology goes even deeper than just the layout, too. The brand psychology outlined in the source regarding color and material is fascinating.
The visual cues are everything.
Right. It turns out different sectors of the industry use very specific visual cues. Premium operators, like the massive established betting platforms, they favor dark color palettes, heavy materials, and high gloss finishes.
Yeah, black, dark blues, heavy wood.
Exactly. Because it communicates exclusivity. It feels heavy, secure, and like a VIP room.
Whereas the affiliate networks, whose entire business model relies on appearing open, accessible, and ready to partner with as many operators as possible, they utilize the exact opposite strategy.
Light and bright.
Exactly. They favor light colors, bright lighting, and transparent structural elements like glass or open mesh. It is all about matching the physical materials of the booth to the brand's digital positioning in the marketplace.
Now, actually executing that level of psychological design requires the right builder. The guide doesn't just give theory, it actually provides a landscape of contractors based on European coverage.
Which is incredibly useful for exhibitors.
Definitely. We mentioned Atom Expo Stand is ranked #1 for custom and modular iGaming builds across Europe. But there are regional specialists too, which makes a lot of sense when you consider the logistics of moving tons of materials across borders.
Oh, geography completely dictates logistics here. If an exhibitor is strictly focused on the UK market, the guide highlights Expo Display Studio for custom builds right in London.
Makes sense, keep it local.
Yeah. And if a small to medium enterprise needs a budget-friendly modular setup, Stands Pro is recommended. Girona Expo is noted for managing modular systems specifically in the Benelux region. And then Expo Stand Service is the go-to for turnkey solutions for Eastern European brands.
I want to touch on that word modular because it seems like a massive cost-benefit hack. I mean, how does a modular stand actually work in practice for a company that maybe does iGB LVE in London in July and then wants to exhibit at ICES Barcelona later in the year?
It's brilliant, honestly. Instead of building a wooden structure that literally goes into a dumpster after 48 hours, a modular stand uses standardized interlocking aluminum frames.
Okay, so you reuse the bones.
Exactly. You build the skeleton once. Then you simply swap out the fabric graphics or LED panels to fit a new floor plan or a new marketing message in Barcelona. It drastically reduces shipping weight, eliminates waste, and saves money.
Without sacrificing that premium psychological design we just talked about.
Right. It still looks high-end.
But here's the harsh reality the guide points out. You can have the most beautifully designed, psychologically optimized, mathematically perfect modular stand in London, and it is completely useless if no one shows up to visit it. Winning the trade show doesn't actually happen in July. It happens months before the doors even open.
This is where a lot of companies fail. The guide outlines a strict countdown, what exhibitors refer to as the 90-day preparation strategy. Failing to adhere to this timeline is the primary reason many companies see zero return on their investment.
90 days, so 3 whole months out.
90 days out, you must be briefing your contractors.
I have to pause there. 3 whole months. Just to tell a contractor to build a booth. That seems like an incredibly long lead time for a temporary structure.
It would be if we were just talking about a simple pop-up banner.
Yeah.
But the high production stands we are discussing require intensive structural engineering.
Ah, because of the elevated signage and the acoustic pods.
Exactly. If you are integrating multi-level structures, custom acoustic meeting pods, or complex curved LED video walls, the contractor needs time. They have to source components, test the tech integration, and get health and safety approvals from the venue itself.
That venue approval part alone probably takes weeks.
Oh, definitely. You just cannot deliver that on a last-minute brief.
Okay, that structural reality makes sense. Then, moving down the timeline, at the 75-day mark, exhibitors must register on the iGB meetings platform. This is the official matchmaking system for the event, and from what I understand, the premium meeting slots fill up within days.
They absolutely do. It's a land grab.
So you have to be early.
Yes. And moving further down, 60 days out is dedicated to finalizing and translating all physical and digital materials. English is the primary language of the event, but the guide notes that German, Spanish, and Portuguese operators attend in massive numbers.
Wait, 60 days out just for translation? That still feels excessive for an event hosted in the UK. Can't they just rely on English? I mean, it's London.
They could, but they would lose millions in potential revenue.
Really? Millions?
Yes. The iGaming market is driven by regional regulation. Markets like Spain and Germany have highly specific, heavily regulated betting environments.
Oh, right, the legal aspect.
Exactly. If an affiliate wants to prove they can deliver high-quality traffic in Madrid, their data sheets, their legal compliance documents, and their digital presentations must be localized. It builds instant trust.
It shows you actually understand their specific legal landscape rather than just treating Europe as one big monolith.
Precisely. It proves you're serious about their market.
Okay. Moving closer to the event, 45 days out is standard logistics. Confirming installation schedules, booking flights, all that fun stuff. But the 30-day mark is where the real revenue generation begins, which is pre-show outreach.
This step is completely non-negotiable. It involves sending highly targeted emails or LinkedIn messages to key targets, confirming appointments, and sharing your specific stand number.
And the data on this is wild.
It is definitive. Companies that execute disciplined pre-show outreach see a 35 to 40% higher show-up rate on their scheduled meetings compared to those who just rely solely on the official matchmaking app.
You have to do the legwork yourself, and the final piece of the timeline happens after the event closes, right? The 48-hour follow-up.
Yes, speed and context in the follow-up consistently separate the high-converting exhibitors from everyone else.
So what does this all mean? The guide notes a fascinating statistic here. 73% of pre-scheduled meetings result in post-event contracts.
It's a huge conversion rate. It's massive. But if almost 3/4 of the deals are basically locked in because of a meeting scheduled 2 months ago, does the actual physical event even matter? Or is the trade show just a very expensive physical execution of a digital handshake that already happened?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you really have to view the event as a multi-layered ecosystem. The structured meetings, which exhibitors aim for about 15 to 25 of them over the 2 days, those are the engine of your ROI.
Right. They pay for the trip.
Exactly. They pay for the booth, the flights, and the hotel. But the physical event itself provides a secondary, arguably much more powerful networking layer.
I like to call it the serendipity layer.
Precisely. It is the events surrounding the exhibition floor. The Women in Gaming Lunch, the iGB Affiliate Awards evening, the Tech Innovation Roundtables.
The after-hour stuff.
Yeah. These specific environments attract the founders, the CEOs, and the senior leadership, not just the sales teams running the booths. This is where high-level mergers and acquisitions, massive cross-platform partnerships, and venture capital talks occur.
Ah, I see. You cannot schedule a serendipitous merger on a matchmaking app 75 days out. You just have to be in the room.
You have the rigid schedule to pay the bills and the secondary events to change the trajectory of your entire company.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered the psychology of the space and we've covered the timeline.
Right.
But what is actually going to be on the floor in 2026? How is the industry changing and how are these stands physically reflecting those shifts?
Well, the guide points to several major industry tides for 2026. The most prominent shift is consolidation. We are going to see fewer, but much larger operator groups dominating the floor space as smaller platforms just get swallowed up.
That makes sense for a maturing industry.
Alongside that, there is an absolute explosion in two specific tech verticals: AI-powered analytics and compliance technology.
The compliance push is logical, given how heavily scrutinized gaming regulations have become globally lately.
Oh, absolutely. And the event is physically reflecting that maturity. There was even a new, dedicated, responsible gambling theater being added to the 2026 floor plan.
Wow, an entire theater. Yeah. The industry is actively showcasing its commitment to sustainable, ethical operations, and these broader industry shifts are physically altering the architecture of the stands themselves.
The static graphics of the past are entirely dead. The overwhelming trend now is dynamic, large-format LED loops. They aren't just showing a static logo anymore. They are displaying real-time product statistics, live player traffic, and dynamic odds.
It's all moving, all the time. We're also seeing a major shift towards standing height demo stations.
But wait, if we just establish that these are high-stakes, nuanced negotiations, don't you want them to sit down, get comfortable, and stay a while? Why force them to stand?
It is entirely about managing the sales funnel of the physical space. Inviting a visitor to sit down at a traditional desk requires a high level of commitment and time from both parties.
Right, it feels like a big step.
It does. A standing demo station acts as the top of the funnel. It allows a casual visitor to walk up, test the software interface, and engage instantly with zero pressure.
Because they can just walk away easily.
Exactly. It drastically reduces the time to engagement. If the standing demo goes well, then you transition them to the seated, private VIP pod we discussed earlier.
It's a brilliant spatial filter. You filter out the casual browsers at the standing desk and reserve the sitting desks for the actual buyers.
Exactly.
There's also a significant push for sustainability signals in the architecture. Exhibitors are demanding recyclable materials and low-energy lighting. And it's not just about saving on logistics, right? It's a profound brand differentiator.
Absolutely. It tells the visitor we are a forward-thinking, responsible partner.
When I look at the integration of real-time LEDs and the specialized zones, it sounds to me like these stands are no longer just static billboards. They're acting almost like living, breathing media networks.
That is the perfect way to describe the ultimate evolution of the affiliate strategy right now. The most successful affiliates at iGB LVE are no longer just showing up with a spreadsheet saying, hey, we have traffic.
Right.
They are physically positioning themselves as comprehensive media brands.
Because a massive casino operator doesn't just want a million random clicks from an affiliate. They want to know exactly who is clicking, how long they play, and what their value is.
Operators evaluate their partners strictly on audience quality now. So the smart exhibitors turn their physical space into a transparent data hub. Their screens display average session duration, geographic breakdowns, and player lifetime value data.
Putting it all out there.
Yeah. They are proving their worth mathematically on massive screens for everyone to see.
The guide even mentions companies are turning their space into a literal content hub. This absolutely blew my mind. They are setting up live podcasting studios right on the stand.
Yes.
They are filming operator interviews in the middle of the hall. They have live data visualizations of the referral traffic happening in real time.
It creates a powerful, magnetic secondary draw. Visitors aren't just coming to your stand to have a dry meeting. They are coming to watch a live broadcast. They are coming to consume content.
It's entertainment.
It turns a static physical footprint into an active attraction, which solves the 3-second attention problem instantly.
So, to pull all these threads together for you listening, success at a mega event like iGB LVE 2026 is definitely not about showing up with a shiny banner, a bowl of mints, and just hoping for the best.
Definitely not.
It is a highly calculated, multidisciplinary effort. It requires understanding architectural psychology and spatial flow to capture a decision-maker's attention in 3 seconds. It requires a ruthless, 90-day preparation strategy to lock in the meetings that actually pay for the trip.
Right.
And it requires leveraging real-time data and live media broadcasting to prove your absolute value the moment someone steps into your footprint.
It is a masterclass in modern B2B strategy, proving that the physical room still holds immense power. And this raises an important question, one that really builds on everything we've uncovered in this guide.
What's that?
Well, if these trade show stands are rapidly evolving into live content hubs, broadcasting real-time data and live podcasts, and if AI is increasingly taking over the back-end analytics and pre-show matchmaking,
Right.
will the trade show of the future be less about private handshakes inside a closed exhibition hall and more about staging a live, interactive performance that is broadcasted to the entire world?
Oh, wow. That is a wild thought. The physical room just becomes a soundstage for a global digital audience. The handshake happens in London, but the broadcast reaches everyone. I love that.
It changes everything.
It really does. So the next time you find yourself walking the floor of a massive conference, whether you are in gaming, enterprise tech, or healthcare, we challenge you to look at it differently.
Keep your eyes open.
Don't just be an attendee grabbing free pens. Be a student of human behavior and spatial design. Look past the flashing lights and ask yourself, why did they place that standing demo station exactly there? Why is that massive VIP pod painted glossy black? And most importantly, why is that one booth totally mobbed while the one right next door is a complete ghost town? The answers are all in the architecture. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.